I welcome you to the series. This is the part 2 of what we treated last week, titled Leave to Cleave. In last week's presentation, the context of leaving was in relation to parents. Hence the text, and I quote, "That is why a man must leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two become one body," unquote. The question one may ask is whether it suffices when a person leaves the parents. What about the other people whose presence may be detrimental to the union? Or what about the characters or the attitudes and behaviors, when not checked, can also be detrimental to the union? In other words, what are the other forms of living which are necessary for effective cleaving? In the context of living, let me stress this point and let it be like the premise to our discussion. That if parents who are so precious to us, parents that we hold in high esteem, there comes that moment that they must be left behind, then what else is so important or so precious that cannot be left behind? In the context of living, it is crucial we stress the point that apart from parents that one must leave behind, there are other persons or behaviors, characters or attitudes that must also be considered. What are some of these? 4 examples may be helpful. 1. A guy who was going to marry, but still kept another girl as a side chick. The question is, how can he cleave to his wife when he's still keeping this other relationship? So if this guy has to leave the parents, it's not enough. He must also learn to leave this other relationship in order to cleave to his wife. 2. A young lady got married, and anytime her family visited, the reception she gave them with the support of the husband was very warm, and the family could stay on for days and at times even for weeks, and there was never a problem. Yet anytime her in-laws visited, her attitude would change. She would throw tantrums. She would put pressure on the husband so that the in-laws could leave the house. This lady must also learn to leave this selfish behavior behind. It is not enough to leave parents. This selfishness must be eschewed so that she can cleave to the husband. 3. A young man got married and kept male friends whom he went out with almost every evening. And the earliest time he came home from such outings was 11 p.m. The wife, on the other hand, always got home after work around 6 p.m. And she had to spend all the time by herself. When she could no longer take it, he told the husband to make a choice between the friends and her. That if he cannot come home for them to spend quality time together, then they have to go their separate ways. This young man had to learn to leave the friends and then get cleaved to his wife. 3. A married woman had friends who always gave her negative feedback about her relationship. The friends made her to feel that the husband was not good enough for her. With time, she began to disrespect the husband. The marriage, unfortunately, fell on rocks. Later, she discovered that her friends were actually jealous of her relationship. And all they wanted was for their marriage to break up so that she could join them in their single state she failed to leave the friends and get cleaved to the partner. With all these examples, the point must be made that just as bad company can corrupt the cleaving, so also bad behaviors or characters or attitudes can equally destroy the cleaving. And until we learn to leave them behind, cleaving becomes impossible. And let's bear in mind that leave to cleave is to prevent problems in marriages. Allow me to conclude on the note of cleaving. The best meaning is to glue together. So the image that comes up when we talk about cleaving is when we use a super glue to join two papers together. What it means is that once they are joined together, any attempt to separate them will destroy them. With this in mind, the concept of marriage in the context of cleaving has the covenant dimension, where when two people are joined together, any attempt to separate them will bring about some destruction. And that is why it's important that we spend time to study and to know the person we wish to cleave to. Because once we are joined, any attempt to separate will bring some form of destruction. The painful truth, however, is that when people lack the maturity, the formation, and the wisdom that are necessary in every relationship, cleaving becomes a mirage. When people today wish to cleave, yet do not wish to let go, to leave behind, the foundation of the union is broken. The solid rock for the foundation of every marriage is the readiness of the couple to leave. Once that takes place, then cleaving becomes a blessing. May God bless you. Amen.